Kathy keeps buying garbage. I don't even know this strategy. This strategy only works if you have unlimited funds, Omid. She bought Shop nonstop yesterday. Okay? She bought Shops nonstop. She bought Roku nonstop a little while ago. She bought Teledoc. Every single loser. It's like, at least, why doesn't she sell them? Because she knows they're all losers. Why doesn't she sell them and said, I'll buy them when they go down? Why didn't she sell Shop at 500 or 600 and say, I'll buy it at 400? Right? So she keeps buying garbage. So she's holding some of these things up. Okay? Next thing I had a question is, how do you let your profits run? How do you let your profits run? Well, this is actually very, very simple, but it takes years to happen for you. Okay? It takes years. Because first, you have to start, let's say you start with a 10 grand account, and you adhere to the risks, and you're buying small, and you grow the account to 15,000. Okay? And you find an SPX, and it goes from, I don't know, say you bought them, at, like I said, 4, and it goes to 14. So you bought one contract, goes to 14. A lot of people sell it. Some people would have sold it earlier, some people sell it more. Understand. How do you let it run? So that's the concept of sell it, take say at 14, you make 1,000, and put 3 grand back, or 300 back in another position around the same place, right? Or maybe add a day. That's one way. Okay? It is not letting it run all day, because if it goes the other way, you get killed. You get killed. But once again, the function of making money is it's a function. You could actually mathematically figure this out. It's a mathematical equation of how much money you have. If you've taken 10 grand to 100 grand, and you want to keep making money at that rate, and you were taking some risks, you have to keep investing at that rate. It's very possible you give it all back. Or you change, you move it to a different account, and you go slower. That's up to you. Okay? And then I had this discussion. Let's say you started with 100 grand, and you're doing pretty riskless stuff, and you're doing good, the market goes good, market's in your favor, and you make 50 grand. And then you start saying, I'm going to take way more risk because I'm up 50 grand. And you make 200 grand. The only reason you made 200 grand is because you took more risk. If you didn't take more risk, you would have never made that 200 grand. You could have kept going the same way, and in another year, you'd have made another 50 grand. Not the 200 grand. So then when it comes down and it goes against you, you can't think of, oh my God, I took too much risk. You took too much risk to make the 200 grand. It's the same thing. Mentally, you have to get your head around this. If you get your head around this, you can become great. But everybody is different. Some people are they're very good as if they have 100 grand. They're very happy to make $1 grand a week or $1 grand a month or whatever the number is. It's up to you. Nobody can tell you what that number is. Are you happy making whatever you're making? If you're not, then you have to take more risk. But if you take more risk, you can lose more money. Absolute fact. So let's say you made 100 grand in 3 months, and then you lost 50. So now you're trying to make your money back, and you buy a put. And you buy that put, say you bought 10 contracts at 1, and it's $1,000. And say that put goes to 4. What are you going to do with that put, Omid? What are you going to do right away? what are you going to do?
Sell it.
You're going to sell it. So why are you going to sell it?
Take profit.
No, you're going to sell it because you've gone from 100 grand to 50 grand, right?
Right.
So you're going to take some profit in it, right? To try and slowly build your money back, right?
You start to trade. You start to trade differently.
You're trading differently. But so now you took that 4, and an hour later that 4 goes to 30, right?
Yep.
So you took your 3 grand and you'd have made 30 more grand. If you put that 30 grand in, your account would be back to 80. But you didn't even want to lose that grand or the two other 1,000 or 3,000 you made in profit, and you traded differently. Isn't that interesting? In the last 3 weeks, one has gone, 1 or 2 or 3, somewhere 4, even 4. Yesterday, the SPXs yesterday, 4,100s went 4 to 34 on it. We sold them at 15. 4 to 34. If you held them, now they're 16, and then they're coming lower. But if you were at 100 grand, Omid, if you were at 100 grand, say you had started at 10, you were at 100 grand, and then you didn't come back to 50, and you bought those SPXs at 1, what would you have done?
Say that again.
If your account was at 100 grand and not at 50 grand because you hadn't lost that 50, even though you made the whole 100, what would you have done with those SPXs? And if you bought them at 1, at $4, what would you do with them? What would you do?
Probably would have held them.
You would have held them. I'm absolutely positive you would have held them. And then they would have went to 30 and made more.
Psychologically, you're going from growth to recovery mode, let's just say.
Exactly. It's two different things.
What you do, you're holding time.
So mentally, you trade different. You trade different.
Correct.
If you're on an up cycle and you're making money nonstop, you hold things.
Right.
If you're losing money, you immediately sell stuff. You immediately do. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that. It's all about what you want to achieve and not lying to yourself. And then we see, and then we see, and then we see. I'm watching these SPXs. They get down to 10, I'm going to get them. Not there yet. Okay? I don't know what's going to happen, but think about the stupidity that I'm seeing today. Every day there's stupidity. NET, they made a penny. They made a penny, Omid. They beat by a penny. I don't even know what the PE on this one is. Probably 300. And CrowdStrike is not down 10. It should be down 10. PanW should be down 25. These companies are getting all the business they can handle, but they can only do X amount of business. Okay? And if they come after these companies, Net, PanW, CrowdStrike, Zscaler, they're all going to get cut in half next. Did you see Bill, B-I-L-L? Bill is getting smashed. They're coming after all of these, every one of them. And that's what they did in 2001. And you know what's going to happen in a few days, Omid? You're going to get an amazing pop. Something like Shop is going to go to 440, 450. And everybody's going to say, oh my God, I made 10% in Shop. Oh, but they also bought it at 1,700. And then, oh my God, Shop is good. And I posted something yesterday. I'm ranting here because we have this jobs report that's going to change everything, right? And so Shop made 20 cents on it. What happens next year if Shop makes 40 cents? What is everybody going to say?
They're growing.
They doubled the company.
Yeah.
And in a year after that, they're going to go from 40 cents to $1. And people are going to say, oh my God, this is the best growth company in the world. They went from $10 to 20 cents. The stock should not be over 500 till they get back to $5. And that could take 10 years. 10 years. Wow. And you know the other reason they made $10 on it? This is another company that doesn't understand what to do. They own a bunch of AFRA. Amazon and was it Ford? Ford owns not Rivian, do they? Or is it Lucid? I forget. Why wouldn't you sell it at 7 or 8x? Why wouldn't Shop just get out of AFRA and said, we're good. We made all this money. We're good. Sell it. If Amazon would have sold Rivian, think about these. I forget who was it. Lucid yesterday that delivered 300 cars on it. They're supposed to make. They delivered 300 cars.
360, I think, something like that.
Do you know, Omid, if I went and I found, let's say I found 300 people in the United States that have big houses and said, hey, I'm going to send you all the parts. You put these cars together yourself. Go hire 2 people and you guys build the whole car like the kit cars. You could deliver 300 cars on it. She could deliver 300 cars.
Yeah.
They delivered 300 cars. That's it.
And they raised the prices 10 to 12%.
Okay.
Already.
So we don't know what's going to happen today. All I know is this. This is very, very simple to me. If 4,100 breaks by noon, get out of the way. It's going to implode. If 4,100 holds, maybe we pop and drop on Monday. Then we see and then we see. But for you, today the lesson is if you want to become a good trader and a great trader, you have to understand why you made money in the first place. And if you're good, if you get to a point that you're good, you can change how you do things. But you can't say, it's very hard to say, if Olman says, I put in 10 grand and took 3 shots and it was a good market and I made 250 grand and you took those shots initially and then you say, now I'm only going to do $100 trades, you're never going to make the initial money that you made. And this is psychological. This is psychological. And there's nothing wrong either way. Any way you do it, it's okay. As long as you're happy. Right, Omid? You have to maintain your happiness on how you're trading. Okay? Interesting.
I mean, the mental state of mind, depending on your successes and how you trade. I mean, it's volatile like the market, or I should say, it's your mental state of mind shifts based on your performance.
Exactly.
So, I mean, that was just great examples, if of how you would trade and how long you would hold a name if basically your account was 50, versus 100, and it's very true, and we don't realize it, but it's good to be self-conscious about it, so you realize what you're doing.
They're good questions, and so if you're asking the question, if you're down a little bit, or you're up a little bit, or you're down more, those are good questions. These are great questions. This makes you a better person. It makes you a better trader. It makes you smarter. This is a very good question. These are good questions. Rolf isn't with us today. If anybody else wants to talk for a minute or two, raise your hand and let me know, because I got a few minutes and then we'll get going, because this jobs thing is still a few minutes away.
Well, let's do a couple of things here. So we get jobs today. You have a CPI number next week. And today you have actually a lineup of Fed speak. I think William Bullard and 3 or 4 other names are speaking. Typical of that to happen after a Fed meeting, that the Army goes out on a messaging tour, and so you're going to see that today. We know what Bullard is going to say, but then I read this morning, and I forget if it was Clarida or so please don't quote me on that. One of the Fed speaks came out and doubled down on what Bullard said, which is 3.5% is really the neutral rate, not 2.5%. Didn't say it in those words, but said neutral rate is more like around 3.5%. So
what is it today? The Fed?
It's at 1%.
Okay, that's what I thought. So that puts it at
75 to 1%.
So that means 2.5 more. So that means 5 hikes, right?
That's right.
Versus the 2 that Powell said. And
right.
I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know what's going to happen. But here's what I know. Real quick. Here's what I know. Is we bought SPX down, Amazon down. We initially did LRCX down, but we got out of those even. We bought Shop up, Snow up, NOW up, Tesla up. So all of a sudden, market was good on Powell. Snow takes off, we sell those. Now takes off, we sell those. Shop takes off, we sell the first batch, held the second batch. Tesla takes off. And then it crashes yesterday. SPX has come down. Amazon comes down. Everything worked. Everything worked. The pairs trading is working great. Okay? Up and down because you're not sure what's going to happen. Okay? So then we see, and then we see, then we see. But don't remember, in 2001, Broadcom went down every month. Every month. 380, 370, 360. But you know, you would get a 4 or 5 point pop, but not a 30-point pop. Right? So that's what happened. And it gets you back in thinking that the pop's real. But there's nothing real about this because he hasn't even done the next hike yet. Okay, let's get started. I did start the recording. Good morning, everybody. 5-6. 5-6. Stocks go up, stocks go down, then we see, then we see, then we see. Okay? Interesting. SPX. Very straightforward. There's nothing else to say. You don't need to overthink any of this. Okay? Don't need to say any of this. Okay? Is 4,100 breaks, absolutely explodes. Right? If 4,100 breaks. So interesting. Then we see. Wow. Okay? Upside, 4,200. Then we see. NVIDIA, 181, 172, needs 203. It got to 203 straight down, dropped 15. This is just like I'm telling you on the market. Market goes up 90, the next day it collapses. Any of these things pop, they collapse. Okay, LRCX, 469, 461. CrowdStrike, I don't understand. Net beats by a penny. In the greatest cyber market you will ever get in your life, a company beats by a penny. If your business, let's say there was COVID and it come out of COVID and the airline still can't make a penny, but they beat well. How do you beat by a penny? In the greatest cyber market there is, net beats by a penny. How do they not even beat by 20 cents? Makes no sense. Okay? Then we see. PanW, 630, 8 tests of 630, and now it's way down. It's down 100. Man, if this takes out 491, it's going to go to 452. Okay? Avago, is it finally slowly working lower? Still holding well. 551 down, 609 up. Apple, 551 down, 151 down, 162 up. Amazon, does it break? Last week, we bought the Amazons at 4, and they went to 25. 4 to 25. We may buy some Amazon puts today if the market goes way down on jobs. If it doesn't, if 4,100 doesn't break, then Amazon's not a play to the downside. You wait. Snowman, 161, 155, needs 196. NOW, the strongest of the strong. If the market's good, this one's good. If the market's bad, it drops a lot because it's a poster child of very expensive still. Very expensive. Okay? 451, 421 needs 506. Shop, all about 391. UPSD, all about 92 and 99. See, we sold those for earnings. Don't want to take risks like that. Just make it 3 or 4 points and get out. Google. Underneath 2281 is 2200. And Tesla. Elon didn't come out and say he was done. He just filed a form. That means he's not done. If the market breaks 4100, this will crater. If the market rips, this will pop. Very straightforward. That's what we know. Okay, let's see what comes up with jobs. We'll post on Twitter and we'll post in the room. Let's see what happens. You know, I get this feeling we're going to test 4100. Then we see. No idea. But if this happens, what I think is going to happen, and this 4100 breaks, there's a monster dive coming. Everybody have a great trading day. See you in chat.